start with today's day 2 with LexTalk World Global Legal and IP Conference. Our day has already started process, following which we will embark upon a set of insight panel discussion sessions, case study presentation, keynote speeches by industry leaders, and networking opportunities. Finally, the day will also see its final conclusion with the distribution of the Lex Falcon Global Awards. So, stay tuned and fasten yourself to witness some interesting sessions of the conference. So without any delay, let's start with our first panel discussion session, and we have a topic of technology and access to justice, in which technology can bridge the gap between legal services and underserved populations, promoting access to legal empowerment. For that, I would like to call upon stage Mr. Mathew Phillip, who is a CEO at Qube Technologies and who is a moderator of this panel discussion as well. For that, along with that, I would like to call upon Sridhar, who's a head of legal, Viviriti Capital Limited. And we have Shujat bin Ali, who's a general counsel and chief compliance officer at Sustainability Limited. With that, we have Stalin Muthuswamy, who's a CEO at Aaytham Consulting. Let's have a big round of applause, guys.
Good morning and a warm welcome to this session. We'll be talking about access to justice and how technology can particularly empower the underprivileged. My name is Mathew Phillip. I'm the CEO of Qube Technologies. We work out of Trivandrum Technopark, and we have developed a product, a framework, a software framework for the courts. And we look at the judicial ecosystem as a whole. When we say judicial ecosystem, it's all about court we see as the central fulcrum of the judicial ecosystem. Courts countrywide, starting from Supreme Court and downward. And then all the outside entities, part of the judicial ecosystems, parties, lawyers who represent the parties. Then we have the law departments, AG offices, tribunals, all types of entities around. And today we are talking about bringing them all together, and thank you very much for coming by. And I have with me Srividhya, who is part of the panel, and also Stalin. And we would be interactively discussing, because yesterday evening only I was given to understand that I am moderating. So I'm more comfortable to talk about the systems, but anyway, we'll give it a try. So today, we'll start with access to justice, and Srividhya, you were talking about some of the areas that directly addresses, the access to justice issue. Can you just elaborate on that?
Hi. Hello? I'm Srividhya Sridhar. I'm part of Viviriti Capital. We are a full-fledged NBFC. Let me just change the mode, change the tone of this for a while. Have you all seen this legal mamla hai or mamla legal hai, whatever? It's a satire basically on the legal community. That's what we are trying to change. That's the topic here. We have a lot of lawyers here. We have the community here, but are we able to reach the right segment? Are we able to give justice to the people who actually require justice? Or are we able to build in platforms which actually reaches the common man? People sitting here are obviously able to access a lot of stuff. We have knowledge on internet, we have knowledge on digital stuff, we have obviously somebody who has built systems and stuff like that. But there's this huge population in India who might know how to use a mobile phone, but not essentially to be able to use it for their own benefit. And if at all we are giving them that access, are we giving them the right material to live on? Are we giving them the right direction? Those are the questions that needs to be addressed. Huge population, huge. When I say huge, you need to understand that smartphone ka bhi istemal अच्छे तरह to my segment where I am. I'm from an NBFC space, I'm from the BFSI segment. RBI, on the financial side, found merit in having financial literacy comics put up. They found this very important, that we need to reach the common man. The videos are very ones who really need kya chahiye acha. Let's go to a gaon wala segment. Let's reach a rural segment. Their legal issues are not like ours. They don't have bigger issues. Their issues are different. Have we enough material? Are we catering to them enough? That the question posed was, what are the issues? So that's where I'm dwelling. So what do we need to do? There are two, three ways of dealing with it, right? One is just complaining. The second is being a provider. What we could do is possibly join hands, go pro bono, build something small, simple, to be able to reach the lives of those common men. I think that's where that divide can be taken care of. We can bring technology. We can do a app system. We could do, but then the training again becomes very, 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 very essential. Are we able to reach them is the point that we have to cater to. Yeah, so the topic is quite futuristic, and the future has to be really bright for all of us, including the ones who cannot avail justice very simply.
Thank you, Srividhya. Stalin, do you want to comment?
Yeah, hi. So with what ma'am was saying and the intro sir gave, see, actually the topic speaks about who is underserved. Okay, fine. So when it comes with usually the underserved or underprivileged, there is a possibility of giving a classification. For instance, when we speak about growth and development, we can easily quote who is underserved or who is underprivileged. But when it comes with legal domain, there is a very important question, who is underserved? And most of the time I end with an answer that everyone are underserved at some point of time when it comes with legal. So, someone in a very proficient manner, well said, okay, fine, financially capable, with all the capacity building, okay, fine, knowledge wise. Again, there is some sort of instances where that person goes underserved when it comes with legal space. So we need a clarity on this. So despite what sort of background they are from, so what sort of educational stuffs they have, most of the times this underserved is everywhere. Most of the times we are facing this issue, something which I see to it actually. So tech as a space, basically I'm from a management consultant side. So we are into this for a longer time, and where we ended ourselves with a consulting to a legal space. Lawyers again, if you take the curriculum of law, okay, even now, I could see that is more and more again into law, which has to be. But when we are speaking about the tech space to intervene, how are we equipping the lawyers to that? We call it as change management. I guess like people should be aware of it. I see that is something very crucial when it comes with tech service making products. There are many people now with legal tech space entering. But again, courts are empowering themselves. Judiciary is empowering. Again, DOJ is empowering themselves. But I see a vacuum again with individual advocates. How good this space is going to be occupied. If we take Supreme Court, I think their first e-court committee was somewhere in 2004. There have been two phases, phase 1, phase 2, and now they are into phase 3 from last year, I guess. And the ecosystem is also very receptive. They are clearly understanding that tech has to, play a major role. Now this Subhas, okay, when there are a number of, applications that have come into this national judicial data grid, I guess. Subhas is like translating all the judgments into, the regional languages, and the courts are having their own rate of progress in that. When it comes here again, when everyone is trying to empower into the legal space, so where do the advocates fit here? So what are the attempts being put in as an individual advocate or a law student? Even now I was interacting. So whenever I speak to an individual advocate, we are coming up with this, I won't call it as a fancy term, but whatever tech things comes in, it has an AA tag today, a blockchain tag today. Okay, fine. So when the basic itself is missing, okay, fine. How do we are going to fit it to the into execution is what I'm a bit curious.
See, from our experience of interacting with the courts, who are the primary owner of the case management in a country, it is the courts who provide justice. And there is quite a bit of systems already in India. India is one of the most automated countries now, because our the resources that we have. But we also work on legacy systems, we call it, the old systems, the old type of systems. And it is not easy to roll out information seamlessly across a country out of a legacy system, but the NIC, which is the body that drives the projects here in the Supreme Court, they've done a commendable job of getting data in one platform. The jail data, the police data, the court data, the courts at all levels, the higher courts and the subordinate courts, so all of it they have brought together. Now, the Department of Justice in India is quite keen to educate people, bring awareness across the society. I was also thinking of bringing up areas of opportunities for lawyers. Because the opportunity area that you look at is primarily litigations or arbitrations or settlements. These are the areas that you would look at. Today, there is lots of opportunity to work along with the Department of Justice and start looking at various forms of services as lawyers, which we won't be able to give. When it comes to awareness, as Srividhya was saying, we create applications or content which is legal content made relevant to common man. Access to justice is also underprivileged is one area, but lack of awareness is there anywhere. In fact, I used to live in Dubai, and when I had a corporate case here, some of the things that the lawyers were saying it was not relevant to the case which I had in the corporate litigations. Many of the things I researched and found out. So it's important that lawyers understand the fact that, like in a country like UAE, in Dubai, self-litigation is something that we do. And our system is being used there, self-litigation included. So that's also a threat to you, threat to your practice sometimes, isn't it? So I would recommend lawyers to really understand the technology opportunities and also look a little bit different into opportunities that you can use to leverage your practice. Like bringing awareness, creating content, that in turn will definitely give you a lot of work. Maybe not in a traditional way. Maybe you will charge small amounts of money for a large number of complainants. I'm not using the word litigants, complainants. And the court also has this problem of pendency. India is very surprising, right? We are looking to build our product majorly in India because we want the volumes. We want the big volumes to route through our system to prove that it is all, like Dubai, we manage 30,000 cases. Like a state, some of them will have 10 lakh cases. So we want to understand the sturdiness of the case. This is the volume we are talking about. And if you have a practice which is focusing the underprivileged and areas of uneducated segment, you can create a lot of opportunities around that. Where you can look at mass settlements. I think the court has a process where, similar cases, they will settle it one go. And courts are definitely, I know the Supreme Court and every court, they're working towards lawyers who will come and get into these areas. And people like us with technology, we can facilitate this. It's primarily with the technology available today, in the palm of your hand with a mobile device. You can do 100 things otherwise you would have done many, many weeks. You can do it in a day or two. But you need to understand the opportunity around that. And then that will translate into justice for the people you are talking about. Education, I'm talking about education of the masses. And the DOJ has got budgets to pay you for that. They asked me, do you want to do it? I said, no, that's not my area. But I can definitely give you leads to that. Initially, it could be a little bit of work. Then you can create content. Once you create content, right, it just goes all around the place. And then you can charge for that content. And today, the digital lawyer is slowly coming in. I'm sure the audience are aware of it. All of it, once it grows, can be contributing to improve access to justice. So education is fundamental. Is there anything that you need to add on to that, Srividhya?
So yeah, I was just, so we spoke about the negatives. Let's speak about the positives as well. A lot has been done across the world with regards to technology being bought or being integrated into the ecosystem. So I was just reading up, in California, Do Not Pay is an organization which brought in the first robotic lawyer. We call it robotic lawyer for the sake of it, but yeah. So the lawyer was supposed to argue. The court said, no, this doesn't work. You can't go ahead. But Do Not Pay went a little ahead, and it built systems to be able to work on eliminating the court process itself, if possible, where they prune medical related issues. So, jo bhi legal issues hai, related to the medical bills, to the, there were 2-3 topics that they picked up and they started working around. So what happens is the person gets justice faster. He doesn't need to wait for the court as a forum. Similarly, in India, ODR has seen a lot of traction. Most of the online, at least for the financial sector, I would rather go for an ODR mechanism in a retail space rather than going for a full-fledged arbitration. So yeah, so in India, I think there has been, like he was saying, there has been a lot which has been done, but there is scope to do a lot more. And I appreciate the fact that he has leads to get us budgets to be able to penetrate and bring technology and content to the common man to be able to deal with these issues. That's my thought. If you have anything else.
Yeah, the fact is actually, I'm from Tamil Nadu. The recent government and the Chief Justice as well. See, everyone is into the same mindset. They are ready. As Sir quoted, the budget is there. I'll quote you an example. My mentor as well as senior is a state PP right now at Tamil Nadu. I used to go there often, and from day one, when he was into the chair, he was very clear he wanted to bring some sort of tech interventions to make things seamless. So I'm getting into it. Our team is into there. We are doing the basic research. The process, here the lawyer should be aware how the criminal system works on. Once the litigant comes, your case will be numbered. If you take Tamil Nadu, it's like a perimeter of the Chennai capital. The longest trip will be around 700 kilometers down the line. We have around 1,000 police stations across the state. Okay, and already you know how the police system is. They are actually tired. Okay, fine. We don't have the enough resources. We have law and order and other things to be taken care. But minimum per day, 300 to 350, even 500 policemen has to come here to the PP office to give the facts of that particular case. This is happening day to day. Okay, and imagine a person traveling some 300 to 500 kilometers on average every day. The cost of the same. Okay, fine. And the other matters to it. If a person is not there, the law and order thing, who will be taking care of it in the particular jurisdiction? This is something which can be replaced with a simple ticket creation system of tech. But what's stopping us again is like the change management resistance. Okay, fine. From the police side as well as from the judicial side. But the department, the state PP as well as the court, everyone is ready to do it. So that is where I started with. Okay, fine. So how we are going to equip our people who are going to use that? So that is where I see a very important focus has to go on. Tech, yes, that will do its work. Okay, fine. How we are going to put in place and execute it? Okay, fine. I'll just simply throw something which, okay, fine, internally happens. The PP office, they are a bit, liking the way police comes and stands there. Okay, fine. You can see in the newspaper, the PP announced very strictly saying that if any police person is not treated in a right manner, even starting from the lowest level, they will be summoned immediately from my office. Okay, man. So these are the things after we got to know, okay, when he's noticing it out and so it becomes a individual's responsibility again, apart from system. See, whenever in a system a change happens, the individual takes the leads into that. See, even our CJ right now, he constantly keep quoting on few reforms which has to come in with tech side. So this is where we need to focus. The government is ready. Yes, the ecosystem is ready. Okay, fine. Now, all these stakeholders has to step in. Such discussions has to keep happening. Okay, and if you ask me, frankly, I'll tell such discussions happening in South is pretty less when it happens at the capital, again, national capital of territory. Okay. So such discussions has to kick-started, and continuously this has to be spoken once in a month or week. Some sort of conglomerations has to come in place. Okay, fine. Many stakeholders should start speaking about it, and somewhere the curriculum has to be reformed. As I said, at least the next gen of lawyers, okay, fine, they have to study about how tech and law has to integrate and what are the positive externalities behind it. Okay, fine. As the incident I quoted, there are a lot of externalities behind it positively. So that has to be, at some point, they have to learn on it. Okay, when we have BA, BBA, okay, when everything with LLB, okay, when we have to introduce some sort of, within the legal curriculum itself, where tech and this plays a role. So that's what I see.
Yeah, sure. In fact, symbiosis, when I was checking on admission for my daughter, she was not anyway interested in law, but there is a course of artificial intelligence for the lawyers, which is interesting, because yesterday we had that topic in one of the forums, AI. See, the industry, we come from an industry, we throw buzzwords and create commotion, or kind of, we create waves for us to make money. And globally, legal tech is one of the most invested industries now. And e-governance is also big. And technology can do a lot for the citizens. And when we look at access, when I look at access to justice, it is citizens. Part of it is the underprivileged, which we have a lot in this country. Percentages, we don't want to discuss, but it is majority. Then, as Stalin was saying, even among the common people, awareness is less. Corporates, governments. In fact, governments, interesting is when we started with courts, since NIC is the prime player in courts, we knew that we will not get opportunity with the courts for the time being. But when we started exploring the ecosystem, we realized there is law department, there is AG office, there is prosecution, there is government department, legal departments. And today we are working on a lot of opportunities among the government departments. And it's interesting to see that documents are still hard copy documents. And, and it's a fact, because I was quite surprised. And they're very happy about it. And they have log books on which they write all these information. Even when we talk to lawyers, right, they suddenly say, are you going to automate it for the clerks? No. No, my friend, no. Clerk is only or paralegals is only one component. What we are saying is, once your information gets digitized, there are multiple ways you can leverage that information, data. You should know what information you want. Accordingly, you choose whom you work with. There's a lot. I'm very happy to see a lot of companies here. Many of them I saw only after coming here, because we are in the enterprise space. Start using systems. If you don't use it, your younger generation, I think here, good to see, younger lot is here. More is younger lot. The senior ones, they don't want to. We work with Bar Council, we automate the Bar Council, all your enrollment process and all your COPs and all the welfare funds, all of it we automate. And we have seen a lot of resistance to technology. Resistance prima facie because of the fear that information becomes transparent. It is at the tip of your finger. In fact, I was visiting a high court and was with the registrar. I realized there is a major file missing. But because of the system, they could retrieve it immediately, get all the signatures, and that's also part of access to justice. Because earlier days, it is lost, it is lost. The thousands of papers, that some of the cases that you carry. And then this brings us to the question, how is your information managed? Because I'm working with lawyers. There are lawyers whom I worked in the earlier stage when I returned here. The same information I provide them, they'll ask again. And my work is to keep sending documents. I said, stop this. At least you should have a basic system to store your documents related to a case and retrieve it when you want it. Essential, no? You don't go hunting all around the place to look for it. For us, we are a small organization. I only manage 5 clients. Big clients, 5 clients. It's a nightmare for me. So what I do, initially itself, everything is automated. So technically, I can run my show anywhere, no problem. Information management, data management is essential. And for you to get to AI, as I was saying, we talk a lot about AI. AI will take time to come. Blockchain, we are not ready to get there. But at least we should start somewhere. Kerala, they implemented e-filing in the High Court. There was a lot of resistance. I met a senior lawyer recently. He says, a lot of problems in e-filing. And I know from the High Court there is no problem. And I was actually talking to a justice, head of a court. And he was upfront raising his objections. So resistance to access to justice is very, very common at all levels. Registrars, where the file was missing, said, some of the judges do not want the system. Our CJI is all for it. He is all for it. He is the one who drove it, the E-Committee. And that is the reason we have gone to the level where bails are online bails, and in fact they're trying AI-based settlements. ODRs, this is something that I want to talk to you. You should think of getting into ODRs, not ADRs. ADRs is automated dispute resolution. Should get into ODRs. Friends, I tell you, you can make a lot of money there. You are with the corporates, you are with the, you can get the small and medium businesses there. And once you work with courts or wherever, you can actually arbitration, even before arbitration, you can make your money through mediation. But those should be there accessible. You should get people to come and file with you online. Your work you get 1 or 2 people to run it. That's it. And there are some companies who are doing it very successfully. I cannot recollect some of the names, but get into it. If you don't get in, we will get in. We don't want to get into your space. But that will create a lot of traction for you. In this session, I wanted to more talk about how this will benefit the lawyer community. Because you have come here for that. There has to be a balance. And this also brings me to the topic of cost of justice. Why tax 2 or 3 or 5 clients for your revenue? Instead, look at more people. Use technology effectively and earn in large volumes, like the online marketplaces and all your Flipkarts and all that. I think there is a lot of opportunity, and cost of justice is extremely important. Make it economical for the clients. I'm not saying go down low, but if you go volume to some of these segments, you're also doing a good, big favor to the country, and also, you are doing great work for yourself. Srividhya, you have a comment on that?
So cost of justice is twofold. One is the monetary cost. The other, you just said we have not adapted as yet, and we are showing resistance. That's because my data sitting in the courtroom, though in physical form today, is not subject to as much as data leak as it would be on a technological platform. So are technology actually built well enough to ensure that they are aligned to the data privacy laws? They are aligned to, do we have them today? Because that's a question that I pose, and there are so many, we can see right out there, there's so many technology providers. Are they all aligned? Are there common switches? Am I able to get my access at one touch? Am I required to integrate with multiple players on different technology platforms? Is it making my life easier or difficult? That is the reason why we have not been able to penetrate and help the what was the topic? Underprivileged? Underserved class. Forget the underserved, anyone, to be matter of fact. We are talking about technology, but we have not come together to build one common, so like UPI was a common stuff, right? There was Bharat Pay which could adopt, there was a Paytm which could adopt, there were multiple players who could play around. And there's no dearth for you to play around, but it has to make sense. It has to make sense for the person who is actually using that technology. And I think that's where we have to step in. We have to, and hence going back to content, going back to what technology we bring on the table, everyone should be able to access it easily, use it easily, and derive the outcome, which is simple and comprehensible. Nothing, so my point is not about fanciness. My client or the person sitting there at the ground could have just a ticket, accident ticket. It could be probably just jumping the signal. It could be some farmer who could have just because of right of way got into a dispute. Correct? These are the segments, and India has numerous numbers of acts, legislation, laws. We are dealing with humongous data. We are dealing with different segments, lot of vastness. India as a territory has all of that. So can we at least make the technology such that we can all use it easily and not make it very complex for anyone?
Sure.
Yeah, so with data privacy, ma'am, I'll tell you, see, tech doesn't give leakages. Who make the tech can facilitate for the leakages. Okay, fine. So tech has its fundamentally that won't on its own will give the leakages. Let's not talk about blockchain and all now for the data privacy. The normal platform which we are building itself shouldn't give any leakages. Okay, fine. So unless and until the one who codes it, okay, fine, make some sort of loopholes. So you need not fear on that sort. And with this one, you said, right, the resistance and other things which we are speaking about continuously. I see this profession more of like a profession of, doctors being in India 1980s, 90s. They'll operate individually. They'll be the only one, okay, fine. They'll be doing the surgery. They'll be doing the OP. They'll do the billing. All the things should be taken care of by the doctors. They'll have nurse for the assistants. Again, they'll fall into the same domain. Here in India, we don't have a profession itself, to be frank, with many law firms called paralegal itself. Okay, fine. Lawyers are put to for everybody. For all the tasks, lawyers are the one, okay, fine, who goes take the printouts, who sit with the clients, who gets the invoice generated. Okay. So this is very similar to doctor's profession in 80s and 90s. There where the organization entered the market. Okay, fine. You take all the leading hospital firms today, they got into it, and there were a lot of resistance. Okay, fine. You can see cinemas coming around where the things happening, mess up everything. But eventually, see, different talent pool has to come together to put something into seamlessly. We have to accept it. We have no other go on it. So now initially human resource came into the medical industry. Okay, fine. HR will be taking care of the recruitment. Okay, fine. He will schedule the surgery. If any cardiothoracic surgery has to happen, open heart, you need at least 2 minimum cardiothoracic surgeons, MCH super specialty, anesthesian person, okay, fine, and a general surgeon. 5 people has to come together to do open heart. Now see the level of open hearts being done today. It is because of the organization culture that has been put on place. Okay, fine. That's where seamlessly happens. Initially, like in 90s or 2000s, if a heart attack comes in, many people doesn't have the resort to cure it, and now you could see some 50s and 60s people get their surgery. They can prolong their life expectancy to 70s and 80s, another 20 years, 25 years. Okay, fine. It's because the availability. So that's where the accessibility comes in again. Okay, so I feel that this sort of approach will happen to legal domain too. Okay, fine. So we're all stepping in together.
Yeah, we join hands.
Yeah, so that's where something bright might happen. So adding on to the next question, sir. With this, okay, fine. So we have spoke about the positives, how it is going to give us things actually. Now there are certain tools across the world. If you take US, there is a tool called Compass. Okay, fine. So what it is actually adding to it is, they are utilizing it to sentencing as well as like parole for other decision makings. They are utilizing that tools. But on a research, they found out that it has again a racial discrimination behind it. There is false positives for black people and false negatives for white. Okay, and multi-facet culture like country like India. So again, these are the things again, adding that instigating the resistance for adapting it and other things. So we have to be bit prompt on all this. I can understand that, but from your perspective, who's building all these, again with AA on place and all. So how do you think, like because like a lot of chaos will happen when on the initial phase, and after Geo has penetrated so much of digital inclusion, when everyone has a mobile phone, okay, and how, because government has to think on all this, okay, when so something goes wrong, okay, when, and government has to answer, the state has to go answer it. So how we are going to make it so prompt and know where it is going to make such mistakes, which makes so politically sensitive, okay, fine, which might bring a chaos here in the system. So how we are going to be, how careful we are going to handle this while creating something like this?
I think you should have a very strong compliance environment, regulated compliance environment, so that technology is not misused. And when you make a reference to the US, I think we are more automated than the US when it comes to technology in the courts, because we talk to the US courts, so we know. Some areas they are good. All our problems they have in a much larger measure, because they have more legacy systems than us, right? So, and our legacy system, I think it should be replaced at some point in time. We are looking forward to that, maybe in a couple of years. Now, regulatory compliance and monitoring, and at the right time plugging in loopholes is all part of the governmental process. And I'll also address as we are coming to the close of the session, right? So one is, you should look at consolidation, which is not an easy task. It's a very difficult task. For that, interoperability of systems are very essentials. It will take time. It will take time. But we are reaching there because we have the national data grid. It is bringing in a lot of information. In fact, we are talking to Supreme Court to give us that data so that we can create AI components to that, like predictive analysis. Predicting the outcome of a case based on your citations. And then you know that whether you win or lose. Why do you want to fight a case which you will lose? Obviously, the system can give you. AI, again, let me remind you, as much as AI will become prominent, for the next few years it will coexist with the human involvement. And this is where the opportunity for lawyers are big. And then if you segment the market and the system, like Madam Srividhya was saying, there's a lot of opportunity again, for collecting fines. But you should take the initiative and go and knock the doors. Now we are going and educating law departments, electricity boards. I met an electricity board, they met us in an exhibition like this. Again, across the state, it's all in islands. One of the law secretaries was telling me there was a delay in replying to a case, something like 1,500 days, and the law secretary didn't know about it. This is where lawyers can go and create opportunities in the pain areas that the governments are facing, corporates are facing. One of the friends of mine met now from a bank said, case statuses, real time, as they release it, all kinds of case statuses coming into your system. Going and looking at opportunities in these segments we were talking about. Somebody has to go and talk to them. It may not be easy initially, but 4 or 5 of you will do in one state, it can be replicated everywhere. They're always looking for forerunners. And as much as you would understand, maybe I wouldn't understand. But today, of course, from a system perspective, we analyze pain areas thoroughly. Then only, we develop our systems. So when it comes to the trust in the system you can trust. Today, technology is so advanced. It's not easy to leak into these systems that we built. It's absolutely secure. As when they made the Dreamliner aircraft, it runs on 2 engines. And I was part of a forum where one of the Boeing senior official was talking to cross over the Atlantic. Usually, I prefer to fly on a 747 or A380 with 4 engines. But when you do it with 2 engines, the risk is high. But the guy was saying, the risk is that, the percentage of chance probability of for you to have a crash is 99.99999. So that's the precision to which they build the systems. Today, technology is there, technology is secure. We use some of the best technologies in the world. There's one problem with all the GDPR compliance and all that you're talking about. Ethics has to be followed by the people who are using the technology. Simple. I think technology is there, but the one who is using the system should be ethical, which is something we have lost. So with this, we conclude the session. I want to just wrap it up and say access to technology, access to justice involves the whole ecosystem where lawyers have a critical role to play in educating the people and giving them cost-effective systems in the segments, different segments of the society. That doesn't mean that it's only for the underprivileged, it can be used for all types of people. You can find your own segment of operation, use technology is there. But when it comes to advanced AI and all that, it will take a little more time to mature. But when you start, you can start using in your areas and the data is there, some of this technology can become useful. There's a lot to talk about, and we close here. If you have any questions, we will take it for the next 4 minutes.
I'd like to know your perspective on the threats and the challenges and the risks that technology poses when it comes to the judiciary, when it comes to also standardizing the platform between judiciary, lawyers, and law enforcement agencies. If we could know about the negative side also, the pitfalls also, that would kind of give us a holistic perspective. I'd like to know more about that.
This is one of the most negative things what we are saying. When transparency is there and data is in your fist or at the tip of your finger, misusing of the data by the individual is definitely possible, or individual or an organization. And we can make it secure as much as, like, we have role-based systems. It doesn't give access to anybody and everyone. Only the essential, like there are instances where when there is POSCO cases, they don't want anybody, only the judge will see the information. It doesn't leak to anyone. We can secure the system in that. So information leaking risk is there. But it is also very important that how we design it in a way that it only reaches the people it is expected to reach. And that is one area. How we do it through strong processes, in fact, all these systems are auditable. You will know who is doing what, who has touched it where. All these things are there. And you can secure it in a way, all it is encrypted. I think it's not easy to pass through it as easy. It can only happen at the level where the information is available. I can say that. So strong compliance, strong procedures, a strong workflow, monitor it, all of it all the time. And breaches can be also automated. Any security breaches also we can trap and automate it. And training, know-how, maintaining the know-how of the system. See what happens here is you have to invest. Even when I say cost effective, I said from a justice perspective. Even when you are investing in technology, it has to be cost effective, economical, but it's not cheap. Technology doesn't come cheap. When you say that economical system, it should be, it should not breach security, and it should continue to operate. Because once you are in technology, you need to have it. You cannot have a situation that it stops. So continuity planning and all those components come in. So know-how, maintaining of the system is very important. Otherwise, I think, yeah, I think, is there somebody who can add to that, yeah. I think that's pretty much, yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, thanks. This is a perfect blend of what you call from an industry and from what you call a technological platform runners. So, having answered her query, my question is, how far we feel that there is a requirement for a global regulation to regulate this kind of cyber frauds? Means across world, GDPR is there, DPDP Act is there, but all are not common, similar. A synchronization of regulations, how far is required in your view? Means the globally cybercrime is on the increasing side. When we talk about COVID has given what you call, Madam Vidya was telling about UPI. UPI, it got popularity during COVID. Even the vendors of coconut, means tender coconut, whatever, whomsoever is doing this juta polishing, they are also using UPI. But it has accounted for, I think, more than 50% of the cyber frauds. it's not that I'm not discouraging, but my observation is that when we are enablers, we Indians, sorry to say this, it's not to anybody, we invent loopholes in the regulations and do kind of frauds. So in your view, my question is there any need for a global regulation or a synchronized regulations across the world, given that cyber fraud can happen anywhere in the world, sitting at an extreme corner of a world, you can perform any kind of frauds?
Sure. I think already in India, there are cyber cells across the country. And we had an opportunity to work with the police department in Kerala. And I was quite impressed. Immediately in a day or two, in fact, coming from a bank, right? A bank and all of them is interconnected. And in fact, I was not aware of it, even being in this practice. They respond quite quickly. Every country, like say example, Dubai. In fact, if you have any issue on the cyber, if you go through the embassy, they plug it quite quickly. But when it comes to interconnected systems on a global scale, it is not there. I'm sure it will come to that, and which is what is needed, so that people are more apprehensive to commit crimes. So our time is up. We can talk when we meet outside. Thank you very much for your audience. Good afternoon.